Hello, I'm Marc Epstein. My co-author, Kirk Hanson, and I have just completed a book called Rotten: Why Corporate Misconduct Continues and What to Do About It. It addresses a critical challenge facing individual companies and the business world as a global system. It makes specific recommendations on how to resolve it. Kirk and I would like to answer one of the most asked questions about the book.
Marc and I wrote this book with the hopes that we could make some headway against the problem of corporate misconduct. And so it's appropriate to ask, are these measures which we've recommended really going to limit, restrict, rein in corporate misconduct? I don't think either of us believe that you can completely eliminate misconduct by organizations. But in recent years, the growing problem of misconduct and the damage that it's doing has caused us to think that this is a really critical problem to address. We do think that if companies define a purpose which is both social and economic, that if they create a much more robust process for assessing strategies and systems and so on, and if the rest of us help put pressure on organizations through consumer action, through voting with our feet of not wanting to go to work for companies that are more crisis prone or have horrendous records, then we can push companies in the direction of controlling the misconduct much more effectively. We think there are red flags that will inform all of us that maybe this isn't a company we want to go to work for or invest in. And so the action of individual prospective employees or individual investors who avoid certain stocks can have influence on how companies think about corporate misconduct. So we're optimistic at the end of this process of looking at corporate misconduct and hope that 10 years hence, we'll be saying measures were put in place that began to reduce the frequency of misconduct and which helped restore greater confidence in our free market system, that it serves our country and individuals within the United States and globally in a much more effective way. Marc, where do you come out at the end of this?
I agree completely. I think what our analysis, I think, we have 16 or 18 cases in the book. And I think as we've studied those, I think what I saw over and over was a calculus that was made by companies that it was cost effective to make some decisions that might be in their short-term interest, profitable interests of the company, and turned out to be in the long run detriment of the company financially and in every other dimension. So you think about BP and where they could have put in this protector and avoided this Deepwater Horizon, and they didn't. And you think about Volkswagen, where they made a decision about that putting in this defeat device because they felt it would be very difficult and very expensive to put in the requirement to fulfill the requirements of the Environmental Protection Agency. And so I think companies made some bad choices, not thinking that the consequences would be that serious. And in those two examples, and in many others that we see in the book, the cost might have been hundreds of thousands or $1 million for the company to avoid it. And it turned out being in the Volkswagen and BP cases, tens of billions of dollars in costs. I think what we've seen, as you mentioned, the red flags, we also have the ethical performance audit, the ethical risk audit that we've suggested in the book. And so I'm very optimistic, just as you are, that if companies put in place some of these new changes and improve the performance, improve the systems that they have in place, that there's a lot that can be done to improve and reduce the corporate misconduct that's in place now, and do much better both for the local and global society.